Maya skipped down the main street of New Haven Colony, her backpack bouncing against her shoulders. The morning sun cast long shadows across the settlement where humans and aliens lived side by side. She was 8 years old and loved everything about her home on this frontier world. The colony served as a meeting point between human space and alien territories. Traders from dozens of species came here to buy and sell goods. Maya thought it was the most exciting place in the entire galaxy. She passed by the market where a tall merchant was arranging blue fruits in neat rows. The insect-like creature clicked its mandibles in greeting. Maya waved back with a bright smile. "Good morning, Maya," called out Captain Lisa Grant from across the street. The security officer was making her usual morning rounds. "Good morning, Captain Grant," Maya replied cheerfully. Her school was just ahead. It was a low building made of gray stone where children of all species learned together. Maya liked her teacher who had 4 arms and could write on multiple screens at once. As she walked past the old storage building near the edge of the market district, Maya heard voices. She stopped. The building was supposed to be empty. Her curiosity got the better of her. Maya crept closer to a broken window and peeked inside. 4 aliens stood in a circle. The beings were taller than any human, with hard shells that gleamed in the dim light filtering through cracks in the walls. Their multiple eyes glowed red as they spoke in low, harsh tones. "The weapons arrive next week," one of them hissed. "The council inspectors must not find them." "Has arranged the payment," another replied. "Once we sell these to the rebellion, we will be rich." Maya's eyes went wide. Even she knew that selling weapons to rebels was against galactic law. She should tell someone. One of them suddenly turned toward the window. Maya ducked down fast, her heart pounding. She heard footsteps approaching. "Did you hear something?" they asked. "Probably just a rat," another answered. "This building is full of vermin." Maya stayed perfectly still until the footsteps moved away. Then she slowly backed away from the building and ran toward school as fast as she could. She did not know that one had seen a flash of her brown hair through the window. She did not know that this was already reporting to his boss about a potential witness. At school, Maya tried to focus on her lessons, but her mind kept returning to what she had heard. Should she tell her parents? Should she tell Captain Grant? During lunch, she sat outside under a tree and opened her food container. Her mother had packed her favorite sandwich and some fruit. As she was about to take a bite, something moved in the bushes nearby. A small creature emerged. It was about the size of a large cat with gray and black fur, small eyes, and powerful claws. Maya recognized it immediately. This was one of the honey badgers her mother was studying. Was part of Earth's wildlife that had been brought to New Haven for research. Her mother was a who studied how Earth creatures adapted to new worlds. Had escaped from the research center 3 weeks ago, but he kept showing up near Maya. "Hey," Maya whispered. She broke off a piece of her sandwich and tossed it to him. The honey badger caught it in his mouth and swallowed it whole. His dark eyes never left Maya's face. Then he turned and disappeared back into the bushes. Maya smiled. She liked. He was tough and fearless, just like the stories her mother told her about honey badgers on Earth. What Maya did not see was that had been following her since she left home that morning. What she did not know was that even now, he was watching her from the shadows, his keen senses alert to any danger. That afternoon, Maya returned to class. Her teacher was explaining the different types of faster-than-light travel when the classroom door opened. A janitor entered, carrying a tray of drinks. "Special treats for the students," the janitor announced in the common language, "courtesy of the colony administration." The teacher looked surprised but nodded. "How thoughtful. Students, you may each take one." They moved through the rows of desks, handing out bottles of sweet juice. When he reached Maya, his multiple eyes focused on her face for just a moment too long. He placed a bottle on her desk with a soft click. "Enjoy, little human," he said quietly. Maya thanked him and reached for the bottle. The liquid inside was bright purple, her favorite color. She twisted the cap open. Before she could bring the bottle to her lips, something crashed through the window. Glass exploded across the classroom. Students screamed. The teacher shouted in alarm. Landed on Maya's desk with a snarl that made everyone freeze. The honey badger's fur stood on end. He knocked the bottle from Maya's hand with one powerful swipe. The container flew across the room and shattered against the wall. Where the liquid touched the floor, it began to smoke and hiss. The metal tiles underneath started to corrode. The classroom went silent. Everyone stared at the smoking liquid. That was not juice. That was acid strong enough to melt through metal. The janitor turned and ran for the door. Captain Grant, who had heard the commotion from outside, tackled him before he could escape. Two more security officers rushed in to help restrain the struggling alien. Maya sat frozen at her desk, staring at the smoking floor. Someone had tried to poison her. If it had not knocked that bottle away, she would have drunk it. She would be dead. Stood on her desk, still growling, his body tense and ready to fight. He positioned himself between Maya and the captured. The teacher quickly evacuated all the students from the classroom. Maya's parents arrived within minutes, their faces pale with fear. Her father, Danny Hayes, swept her into his arms while her mother examined her to make sure she was not hurt. "I'm okay, Dad," Maya said softly. "Saved me." Everyone turned to look at the honey badger, sat calmly on the desk now, watching them all with alert eyes. He had done his job. The threat was gone. Captain Grant approached carefully. "That creature just saved your daughter's life," she said to Maya's parents. "He knew that bottle was poisoned before any of us did." Stared at with new understanding. "Honey badgers have an incredibly keen sense of smell," she said slowly. "They can detect chemicals that humans cannot, but this was deliberate protection." "Why would anyone try to poison a child?" Danny demanded, his voice shaking with anger. Captain Grant's expression was grim. "That is what I intend to find out. This will answer my questions one way or another." As they led Maya away from the school, followed at a distance, staying in the shadows. Maya looked back and saw him. She gave him a small wave. The honey badger's eyes gleamed in the afternoon light. Maya did not understand why someone wanted to hurt her. She did not know that the smugglers had decided she was a threat to their operation. She did not know that this was only the first attempt on her life. But knew, somewhere in his animal mind, he understood that this human child was in danger. And Danny Hayes paced back and forth in the living room of their home. His daughter sat on the couch, wrapped in a blanket even though the room was warm. Sat beside Maya, one arm around her shoulders. "She cannot go back to school," Danny said firmly. "Not until we know she is safe." "Agreed," replied. She looked at her daughter's pale face. "Maya, we need you to tell us everything again. Why would they want to hurt you?" Maya explained once more about the voices she had heard in the abandoned building. The weapons, the smuggling operation, the name. Captain Grant had come to their home to hear the story herself. She recorded every detail on her data pad. "This is serious," the security officer said. "Is known to us. We have suspected him of illegal activities for months, but we have never had proof. If his people know that Maya heard them, they will try again." "What about the you arrested?" Danny asked. "He is not talking, but the acid he used was military grade. This was not a random attack. Someone sent him specifically to kill your daughter." The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Maya shivered despite the blanket. A scratching sound came from the back door. Everyone turned. Through the glass panel they could see sitting on the porch. The honey badger stared at them with his small, dark eyes. Stood and opened the door, walked inside like he owned the place. He moved directly to Maya and sat at her feet, his body alert and watchful. "He has been following her," said with wonder in her voice. "All day, every day. I thought he was just curious, but look at him. He is guarding her." Danny knelt down to examine the creature, allowed it but never took his eyes off the windows and doors. Can an animal really understand that Maya is in danger? "Honey badgers are remarkably intelligent," explained. "On Earth, they were known for their ability to solve problems and remember threats, but this goes beyond normal animal behavior. He has bonded with Maya. In his mind, she is part of his territory, something to protect." Captain Grant made a note on her pad. "Right now, this creature is the best security system you have. My officers will patrol your street, but I cannot station guards inside your home. We do not have enough personnel." "Then stays," Danny said. He looked at the honey badger with new respect. "If he wants to protect Maya, I will not stop him." That night, curled up on the floor beside Maya's bed, she reached down and touched his rough fur. "Thank you for saving me," she whispered. The honey badger's only response was to shift slightly, positioning himself between her bed and the window. Across the colony, in a dark warehouse near the spaceport, received the news of his agent's failure. The crime boss was not pleased. "The human child still lives," he hissed. His mandibles clicked in anger. "And now the security forces are investigating. This is unacceptable." His lieutenant, a smaller named, bowed low. "The agent failed because of an animal. A small earth creature interfered." "An animal?" His multiple eyes blazed red. "You are telling me that our operation is threatened by a child and a pet?" "It was not a normal pet, boss. The reports say it detected the poison before anyone else. It moved with purpose." Turned to stare out the window at the colony lights. "The girl saw us. She heard our plans. She can identify voices. If the security forces make her testify, our entire network will be exposed. The council will shut us down. I will spend the rest of my life in a detention facility." "What are your orders?" "Send." His body went rigid. "The hunter, boss, he is expensive, very expensive." "I do not care about the cost," snarled. "Has never failed a contract. He will eliminate the child, the parents, and anyone else who gets in his way. I want this problem erased." "Yes, boss, I will contact him immediately." The next morning, Maya woke to find already awake, sitting by the window. He had not moved all night except to patrol the house every few hours. Her parents had found evidence of his movements. Muddy paw prints led from window to window, door to door. "He is checking the perimeter," said at breakfast. "Like a soldier on guard duty. I have never seen behavior like this in any earth creature I have studied." Maya was not allowed to leave the house. She spent the day reading and playing games while maintained his watch. She tried to interest him in a ball, but he ignored it. His focus never wavered. Danny installed extra locks on all the doors and windows. Captain Grant sent over portable security sensors that would alert them to any movement outside. The house became a fortress. But fortresses could be breached. 3 days later arrived at New Haven Colony. He was unlike any other. Where most of his species were bulky and loud, was lean and silent. He had spent years perfecting the art of killing. His exoskeleton was covered in scars from 100 battles. His eyes glowed with a colder light than normal. He met within the warehouse. "Show me the target," he said in a voice like grinding metal. Provided a holographic image of Maya. 8-year-old human, lives with both parents in the residential district. Security patrols have increased, but they are predictable. I need her dead within the week. Studied the image, such a small thing, so fragile, this would be easy. My fee is 20,000 credits, half now, half on completion. Agreed, transferred the money immediately. What is your plan? I work alone. I do not share my methods. You will know I have succeeded when the human child stops breathing. That night began his surveillance. He climbed to the roof of a building across from the home and watched through enhanced optics. He noted the patrol patterns of the security officers. He observed the family's routines. He identified the best entry points. What he did not expect was the animal. Through his optics, watched as a small creature moved around the outside of the house. It was not random movement. The animal was patrolling, checking shadows, stopping to listen and smell the air. Had hunted on dozens of worlds. He recognized a guardian when he saw one, but this was just an earth creature, small, probably weak, not a threat to a professional like him. He was wrong. On the 4th night of surveillance, decided to test the house's defenses. He waited until the security patrol had passed, then descended from his perch. He moved like smoke, silent and nearly invisible. His species had natural camouflage abilities and had enhanced them with technology. He crossed the street and approached the house from the back, where the garden offered cover. The sensors the humans had installed were easy to avoid. He had already mapped their detection ranges. Moved between the shadows, heading for a ground floor window he had identified as vulnerable. He was 3 meters from the wall when he felt it. Someone was watching him. Froze, his training took over. He activated his full camouflage, becoming nearly invisible in the darkness. He scanned the garden with all his senses. Nothing, no humans, no security drones, nothing. But the feeling persisted. The hair-thin sensors on his exoskeleton detected movement. Something was circling him, something low to the ground, something that made no sound. His hand moved to the plasma blade at his belt. Whatever this was, it had detected him despite his camouflage. That should not be possible. Then he saw it. 2 small eyes reflected the starlight. They were close to the ground, maybe 15 meters away. The eyes did not blink. They simply watched him. The Earth creature, the animal he had dismissed as harmless. Relaxed slightly. It was just a beast. Animals could sometimes sense things that technology hid, but they were no match for a trained killer. He would eliminate it and continue with his mission. He drew his plasma blade. The weapon hummed to life, glowing with deadly energy, moved toward the animal, ready to strike. The eyes disappeared, stopped. Where did it go? A sound behind him. Spun, blade raised, nothing there. Another sound, this time to his left. Turned again, the garden was empty. For the first time in years, felt a spike of uncertainty. This animal was not running away. It was not cowering. It was hunting him. Moved through the garden like a ghost. His excellent night vision tracked every movement of the strange. This intruder was different from the others, more dangerous, more skilled. But did not care. This thing had come near Maya's home. That made it a threat. And honey badgers did not tolerate threats. He circled staying just out of sight. His powerful nose analyzed the alien's scent. His sharp ears tracked the faint sounds of breathing and movement. His brain, evolved to fight venomous snakes and lions on Earth, calculated the best approach. Back toward the garden wall, trying to put solid cover behind him. This was wrong. Animals did not behave this way. They did not stalk trained assassins. The attack came without warning, burst from beneath a bush, moving faster than expected. The honey badger's claws raked across leg joint, finding the weak point in his exoskeleton. Roared in pain and surprise. He swung his plasma blade, but was already gone, melting back into the shadows. Another strike from behind. Claws dug into his back, targeting another joint. The honey badger's teeth snapped at his neck, but his armor held, barely. Threw himself backward, trying to crush the creature against the ground. Released and rolled away, coming to his feet 3 meters distant. They faced each other in the darkness. The assassin and the earth animal, his opponent. This was no ordinary beast. This creature fought with intelligence and purpose. Lights came on in the house. Voices called out. The security sensors had detected the fight. Made a tactical decision. Retreat. Learn, adapt. Return when better prepared. He activated a smoke grenade and disappeared into the night, leaving a trail of green blood behind him. Did not chase. His job was to protect Maya, not pursue enemies into the dark. He returned to the house as Danny burst out the back door, pulse rifle in hand. "What happened?" Danny shouted. Captain Grant and 2 officers arrived moments later, responding to the sensor alerts. They found sitting calmly in the middle of the garden. Around him were scorch marks from the plasma blade and pools of green blood. Grant examined the evidence with growing alarm. "Someone tried to breach your home, someone good enough to bypass most of our sensors." "But not good enough to get past," said softly. She knelt beside the honey badger and checked him for injuries. He was unharmed. In the warehouse across the colony, cleaned and bandaged his wounds. He stared at the claw marks on his armor with disbelief. An earth animal had hurt him, had driven him away. Would not be pleased, but was not ready to admit defeat. He had learned something valuable tonight. The girl was protected by something far more dangerous than security systems or guards. She was protected by a creature that Earth had created to survive against impossible odds. A honey badger, fierce, relentless, absolutely fearless, spent the next 2 days studying everything he could find about honey badgers. What he learned disturbed him. On Earth, these creatures were legendary for their aggression. They attacked venomous snakes, fought lions, and raided beehives despite being stung hundreds of times. Their skin was thick enough to resist most bites and stings. Their jaws could crush bone. They never retreated. They never surrendered. Humans had a saying about honey badgers. "Honey badger don't care." It meant the animal was too tough and too stubborn to be scared of anything. Understood now why the creature had driven him away. It was not luck. It was biology. Earth had created a perfect small predator, and that predator had decided to protect the human child. But had not survived dozens of contracts by giving up when things became difficult. He began planning a new approach. Technology had failed. Stealth had failed. Now he would use overwhelming force. He requisitioned advanced weapons from his arsenal. Plasma grenades, a pulse rifle, enhanced armor with reinforced joints. If the animal attacked again, would be ready. At the home, life had become tense and stressful. Maya was not allowed outside even for a few minutes. Danny had taken leave from his engineering job to stay home and guard his family. Tried to maintain her research work remotely, but her focus kept drifting too. The honey badger had become a permanent fixture in their home. He slept in Maya's room. He followed her from room to room. Every few hours, he would patrol the entire house, checking windows and doors with methodical care. "It is like he is a soldier," Danny observed one morning. "Look at him, he has a routine, a system." Filmed on her data pad as he completed another patrol. "I am going to write a paper about this when everything is over. This level of protective behavior in a non-domesticated animal is unprecedented. He has adopted Maya as his own." "I am glad he did," Danny said quietly. "Without him, we would be planning our daughter's funeral right now." Captain Grant visited every day to update them on the investigation. The janitor had finally talked after 3 days of questioning. He confirmed that had ordered the hit on Maya. He provided details about the smuggling operation, but he did not know anything about the second assassin who had attacked in the garden. "The blood we collected is from a," Grant explained. "But the DNA does not match anyone in our database. Whoever your attacker was, he is a professional, no record, no identity, a ghost." "What about?" Danny asked. "Can you arrest him now?" "We are building a case, but these things take time. Is careful. He keeps himself separated from his operations by several layers, and he has expensive lawyers." Grant's expression was frustrated. "I have increased patrols around your home, but my resources are limited." "We understand," said. "We are grateful for everything you are doing." After Grant left, Maya came downstairs with following close behind. "Mom, Dad, I have been thinking. Maybe I should just tell the bad guys I will not say anything. Maybe then they will leave us alone." Danny knelt down to his daughter's level. "Sweetheart, it does not work that way. Bad people do not trust promises, and what they are doing is wrong. People could get hurt if those weapons reach the rebels. You did the right thing by telling us what you heard." "But now everyone is in danger because of me," Maya said, tears forming in her eyes. Pressed against her leg and made a soft, rumbling sound. It was not quite a growl, but it conveyed reassurance. Maya put her hand on his head. "We are in danger because bad people make bad choices," said gently. "Not because of you, never because of you." That night made his move. He waited until the security patrol had passed the home, then activated his new equipment. The enhanced armor covered him from head to foot. The pulse rifle was loaded with high-explosive rounds. He had thermal imaging to track heat signatures through walls. He approached the house from a different angle this time, using the neighboring property for cover. His thermal sensors showed him 4 heat signatures inside, 3 humans in the living room on the ground floor, 1 smaller signature upstairs. That would be the girl. And another signature, lower to the ground, moving between the upstairs and downstairs, the animal. Had a grenade specifically designed to deal with the honey badger. Gas-based, it would flood the lower floor with a compound that knocked out mammals within seconds. Once the animal was unconscious, eliminating the humans would be simple. He moved to the back door and placed a breaching charge on the lock. His hand hovered over the detonator. 3, 2, 1. Before he could trigger the charge, something hit him from behind with the force of a small vehicle. Crashed forward into the door, his helmet cracking against the metal. Had come out of nowhere. The honey badger had somehow detected its presence and exited the house through a pet door that had installed. Now he was on SPAC, claws digging for purchase on the enhanced armor. Spun and threw himself backward against the wall, trying to crush the creature. Held on. His jaws found a seal in the armor near his neck and bit down hard. Alarms blared inside's helmet as the armor's integrity was compromised. The assassin reached back and grabbed by the scruff of his neck. The honey badger's powerful jaws did not release. Had to use both hands to pull the animal away, and even then took a chunk of armor with him. They faced each other in the dim light of the garden, raised his pulse rifle, did not retreat. His small eyes blazed with fury. Blood from his wounds dripped onto the grass. "You are just an animal," growled. "You cannot win this." Charged, fired. The pulse round should have vaporized the honey badger, but was faster than any creature had ever faced. He dodged left, and the energy blast scorched the grass where he had been. Before could fire again was on him. The honey badger went for the legs, using the same tactic as before. His claws found the joints that even enhanced armor had to leave flexible. He ripped and tore with mechanical efficiency. Fell to one knee. He swung the rifle like a club, connecting with and sending the animal tumbling across the garden. Any other creature would have been stunned or killed by that blow. Rolled to his feet and attacked again. No hesitation, no fear, just pure aggressive determination. Lights blazed to life all around the house. Danny burst through the back door with his own rifle. Security alarms screamed into the night. Captain Grant and her officers were already responding, their vehicles racing through the streets. Made a split-second decision. He dropped a smoke grenade and activated his emergency jump pack. The device was meant for escaping from buildings, but it worked well enough in the garden. He launched into the air, clearing the wall and landing hard in the street beyond. Reached the wall seconds later, snarling at the escaping assassin. But he did not pursue. His duty was here with Maya. Danny found him sitting calmly by the back door when the smoke cleared. The honey badger's fur was matted with green blood, but he appeared uninjured. His chest rose and fell quickly from the exertion of battle, but his eyes were alert and watchful. "You incredible creature," Danny whispered. "You saved us again." Captain Grant arrived with 6 officers. They secured the area and collected evidence. The breaching charge was still attached to the door. The smoke grenade casing lay in the grass. Everywhere had stepped, he had left traces of his blood. "This is the same attacker from before," Grant said grimly. "The DNA matches, but he came with better equipment this time, military-grade weapons, advanced armor." She looked at with something close to awe. "And your pet still drove him off." "He is not our pet," said softly. "He is family, he is Maya's guardian, and he is the only reason we are all still alive." Upstairs, Maya watched from her window. She had seen the entire fight through the glass. She had watched throw himself at an enemy bigger and better armed than himself. She had watched him refuse to retreat even when knocked down. Tears ran down her face, not from fear but from overwhelming gratitude. This small, fierce creature had chosen to protect her, had risked his life for her, and he had won. Across the colony, dragged himself into the warehouse where waited. The crime boss took one look at his hired assassin's damaged armor and multiple wounds, and his mandibles clicked in disgust. "You failed again." "That animal is not natural," hissed through the pain. "It fights like a trained warrior. It has no fear. No survival instinct tells it to run. It is just an earth creature, smaller than you, weaker than you. Size does not matter when the opponent refuses to acknowledge it can lose." Removed his cracked helmet. "I am done. Find someone else. That contract is cursed." His eyes blazed red. "You are breaking our agreement." "I am staying alive. That creature has hurt me twice. If there is a third time, it will kill me. I know this." Turned to leave. "Keep your money. I value my life more." After the assassin left, stood alone in the empty warehouse. His smuggling operation was falling apart. The security forces were investigating. His best assassin had quit, and all because of a human child and her animal guardian. He made a decision. If professionals could not eliminate the girl, then he would do it himself. He would gather his remaining loyal soldiers. They would attack the home with overwhelming numbers, kill everyone inside, burn the place to the ground, leave no witnesses. It would be messy, it would be loud, it would bring the full force of colony security down on him. But at this point had nothing to lose. His empire was already crumbling. He began making calls. "Gather everyone, every soldier we have, full weapons, we move tomorrow night." In the home, completed another patrol and returned to Maya's room. The girl was in bed now, finally sleeping after the excitement. He curled up on the floor beside her, his eyes half closed but still alert. Tomorrow would bring the final battle. Did not know this in any rational way. But instinct told him that the threat was escalating. More enemies would come, stronger enemies. It did not matter. Honey badgers had faced impossible odds for millions of years on Earth. They had survived because they refused to accept defeat, because they fought with everything they had, no matter the cost. Maya stirred in her sleep and her hand dropped over the edge of the bed, touching fur. He shifted slightly to make contact easier. This was why he fought. This fragile, small human who had shown him kindness, who had shared her food with him, who had treated him with gentleness. She was his to protect, and he would do so until his last breath. Outside, the moons of New Haven rose over the colony. The peaceful settlement had no idea that tomorrow would bring violence and bloodshed. that a crime boss would make his last desperate stand, that a honey badger would face his greatest test. Captain Grant arrived at the home early the next morning with news. She looked exhausted, like she had not slept all night. "We caught a break," she announced as Danny led her inside. "The assassin you fought left behind more than just blood this time. He dropped a piece of equipment when he fled. Our tech team traced it back to a warehouse in the industrial sector." Poured coffee for everyone while Maya sat on the stairs beside her. The honey badger's ears perked up at Grant's tone. Even he seemed to sense that something important was happening. "We raided the warehouse 3 hours ago," Grant continued. "Found the whole operation, crates of illegal weapons, forged shipping documents, communications equipment, and we arrested 15, including second-in-command." "What about himself?" Danny asked. Grant's expression darkened. "He was not there. We think someone warned him. He is in the wind now, along with his most loyal soldiers, maybe 6 or 7 of them." "So he is still out there," said quietly, "still a threat." "Yes, but we have enough evidence now to issue a galactic warrant for his arrest. Every security force in the sector will be looking for him. He cannot hide forever." "Unless he decides to finish what he started before he runs," Danny said. The unspoken fear hung in the room like smoke. Grant nodded slowly. "That is possible. A cornered criminal is the most dangerous kind. I am posting guards outside your home, 2 officers at all times, and I am putting out alerts to all units to watch for activity in this sector." "We appreciate that," Captain said. "But I think we both know that if wants to attack, your guards might not be enough." Everyone looked at. The honey badger sat calmly, grooming his paws with his rough tongue. He looked up at them with his dark eyes, as if asking what all the fuss was about. "He is just one animal," Grant said. "A remarkable one, yes, but if comes with multiple soldiers all armed with advanced weapons." She did not finish the sentence. "Then we prepare as best we can," Danny said firmly. He checked his own pulse rifle, making sure it was fully charged. "We have defensive positions, we have weapons, we have each other." Maya descended the stairs and hugged her father. "I am sorry I caused all this trouble." "You did not cause anything," Danny said, hugging her back. "You did the brave thing, you told the truth, that is never wrong." After Captain Grant left to coordinate her forces, the family tried to go about a normal day. But normal was impossible. Every sound made them jump. Every shadow seemed threatening. Maintained his patrol routine but noticed changes in his behavior. He was more alert. His movements were quicker. Several times he went to the windows and stared out at the street, his body tense. "He senses something," said to Danny. "Animals can pick up on threats that we cannot detect, sense on the wind, unusual sounds, changes in the environment." "Do you think they are coming?" "I thinks they are coming, and he has been right about everything so far." As evening approached, the 2 security officers Grant had assigned took up positions outside the house. They were good people, professional and alert, but they were only 2, and they had never faced someone like. Inside, Danny checked every lock and window seal. He positioned extra weapons in strategic locations around the house, prepared a safe room upstairs where Maya could hide if things went wrong. They moved with calm efficiency, like soldiers preparing for a siege. Maya watched her parents and felt guilt twist in her stomach. This was her fault, no matter what they said. If she had not been curious, if she had not stopped to listen at that warehouse, none of this would be happening. Nudged her hand with his nose. She looked down at him, and somehow his steady gaze made her feel better. He was not worried. He was ready, and if this small, fierce creature could be brave, then so could she. Night fell over New Haven Colony. The streets grew quiet. The moons rose, casting silver light across the rooftops. In an abandoned building 6 blocks from the home, gathered his remaining forces. 6 soldiers stood before him, each armed with military-grade weapons. They were the ones who had been with him from the beginning, the loyal ones, the dangerous ones. "Tonight we end this," said. His mandibles clicked with barely controlled rage. "The human girl has destroyed everything I built. Her testimony will send me to a detention facility for the rest of my life. That is unacceptable." "The house is guarded," one soldier said. 2 security officers outside, unknown defensive capabilities inside. "I do not care about guards," snarled. "We hit them fast and hard, kill everyone, burn the evidence. By the time reinforcements arrive, we will be gone. I have a ship waiting at the private landing pad. We jump to the outer colonies and disappear. What about the animal? Another soldier asked. Said it was dangerous. Was a coward. It is a small earth creature. One burst from a pulse rifle will vaporize it. Checked his weapon. We move in 1 hour. Check your equipment. This is our last mission together. Make it count. The soldiers dispersed to prepare. Stood alone, staring at a holographic image of Maya, such a small thing, such an insignificant human child, and yet she had brought down his empire. Well, not for long. Soon she would be dead. Her parents would be dead, and he would be free. At exactly midnight, they moved out. 7, armed and armored, moving through the dark streets like ghosts. They avoided the main roads where security patrols were active. They used back alleys and service corridors. The 2 security officers outside the home never saw them coming. They used stun weapons, dropping both humans before they could raise an alarm. One soldier checked to make sure they were just unconscious, not dead. Even in this, wanted to minimize complications. Dead security officers would bring a massive response. Stunned ones could be explained away. Approached the front door with a breaching charge. The other soldiers took positions around the house, covering all exits. This would be quick, efficient, final. Inside's head snapped up. He had been resting near Maya's bed, but now every muscle in his body went rigid. His lips pulled back from his teeth in a silent snarl. Who was sitting in a chair by Maya's door saw the change immediately. "Danny," she called out urgently. "They are here." Danny grabbed his rifle and moved to the stairs. "Maya, get to the safe room, now." But before anyone could move, the front door exploded inward. The breaching charge turned the lock into molten metal. 3 rushed through the opening, weapons raised. Danny fired from the top of the stairs. His pulse blast hit the first in the shoulder, spinning the alien around. But the other 2 returned fire, forcing Danny to duck back into cover. Pulled Maya toward the safe room, but more were coming through the back door. They were trapped. Then moved. The honey badger launched himself down the stairs with a roar that sounded far too large for his body. He hit the lead like a missile, claws and teeth, finding weak points in the armor with practiced precision. The screamed and tried to shake him off, climbed the alien's body, going for the throat. Another aimed his rifle at the honey badger. Danny shot that first, the pulse blast hitting him square in the chest. The alien went down hard. Finished with the first, leaving him bleeding and unconscious on the floor. Then he turned to face the next threat. 3 more were coming through the back of the house. The honey badger charged again. No hesitation, no fear, just pure aggressive determination to protect his territory and his adopted family. One fired a pulse rifle at. The honey badger's incredible reflexes saved him. He dodged left, and the energy blast scorched the floor. Before they could fire again was on him, ripping at joints and vulnerable areas with surgical precision. Himself came through the front door, taking in the chaos. His carefully planned assault had turned into a brawl. 2 of his soldiers were down. The others were fighting a combination of armed humans and one impossibly fierce animal. "Forget the creature," shouted. "Find the girl, kill her." 2 broke away from the fight and headed for the stairs. Stepped out of the safe room with her own pulse pistol and fired. She hit one in the leg, the other kept coming. Danny appeared at the top of the stairs and fired again. This time his shot went wide, the raised his weapon targeting. Appeared from nowhere, having dispatched his previous opponent. He leaped up the stairs in 3 bounds and hit the from behind. They crashed into the wall together, leaving a dent in the plaster. The fight was brutal and close. Was bleeding now from several wounds, but he did not slow down. He moved with the relentless determination that had made honey badgers legendary on Earth. Every time I got close to Maya's location, the honey badger was there to stop them. Realized with growing horror that they were losing to a family of humans and their pet. His soldiers were falling one by one, victims of pulse rifle fire and honey badger fury. "Retreat," he finally ordered. "Fall back." But it was too late. Captain Grant and a dozen security officers burst through the front door. They had been alerted by the sounds of combat and had responded in force. The remaining tried to fight their way out, but they were surrounded. Grant's officers were professionals, well-trained and well-armed. Within minutes, it was over. Found himself on his knees, hands bound behind his back. Around him, his soldiers lay defeated. Some were wounded, all were captured. Grant approached the crime boss with grim satisfaction. "You are under arrest for attempted murder, weapons smuggling, and about 15 other charges. You will spend the rest of your life regretting this night." Said nothing. He stared at the chaos of his failed assault and wondered how it had all gone so wrong. An 8-year-old girl, an Earth animal. That was all it had taken to destroy him. Upstairs was checking for injuries. The honey badger had several cuts and a burn from a near-miss pulse blast, but nothing serious. His thick skin had protected him from the worst of the damage. Maya knelt beside him, tears running down her face. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for saving us." Licked her hand once, then settled down with a tired grunt. His work was done. The threats were neutralized. His family was safe. Danny descended the stairs and shook Captain Grant's hand. "Thank you for arriving when you did." "We had surveillance drones watching the area," Grant explained. "When we saw the force moving toward your house, we responded immediately, but by the time we arrived..." She looked around at the damaged home and the wounded criminals. "You had already won." "Not us," Danny said, gesturing at him. "That creature fought like a demon, took down 4 by himself while protecting my family." Grant climbed the stairs and knelt beside the honey badger, watched her warily but allowed her to approach. "You are one incredible animal," she said softly. "Earth must be a terrifying place if it produces creatures like you." Laughed despite her exhaustion. "Is special even by Earth standards, but yes, our world is harsh. It creates survivors, fighters, creatures that never give up no matter the odds." "The galaxy should be grateful that humans bring friends like this with them," Grant said. She stood and surveyed the scene. "I will need statements from all of you, but that can wait until tomorrow. Tonight you should rest. The threat is over, and his entire organization are finished." After the security forces left, taking the prisoners with them, the family sat together in their damaged living room. Medics had treated the minor injuries they had sustained. The house was a mess, but they were alive. Maya sat on the floor with her arms around his neck. The honey badger tolerated the affection, his tail twitching slightly. Despite his exhaustion, he remained alert, still on guard. "What happens now?" Maya asked. "Now we testify," Danny said. "We helped Put and his people away for a very long time. Your bravery in speaking up about what you saw, that is what started all this. And in the end, that is what brought down their whole operation." And Maya looked at her parents hopefully. "Can he stay with us forever?" Smiled. "I think has made that decision himself. He is family now, official guardian of the household." The honey badger's only response was to close his eyes and finally relax his guard. For the first time in days, he felt safe enough to truly rest. The threats were gone. His territory was secure. His adopted family was safe. Outside, the moons continued their journey across the sky. New Haven colony slowly returned to peace. And in one damaged but still standing home, a human family slept soundly, watched over by the fiercest guardian Earth had ever produced. 3 weeks had passed since the Knight and his soldiers attacked the home. The colony had slowly returned to normal, though the story of what happened had spread across New Haven and beyond. Maya walked down the same street she had traveled on that morning weeks ago, the morning when everything changed. But this time, walked openly beside her. No more hiding in shadows, no more secret protection. He was officially registered as her companion animal and guardian. People stopped to stare as they passed. A honey badger was an unusual sight in the colony. Most aliens had never seen an Earth creature like him. Ignored the attention, his focus entirely on Maya and their surroundings. "Maya," called a merchant from his fruit stand. "I heard about your bravery. You helped stop those terrible criminals." Maya blushed. "I just told the truth about what I saw, did all the hard work." The merchant clicked his mandibles in what passed for a smile among his species. "Then please accept these fruits as a gift, for both you and your guardian." Maya thanked him and took the offered bag, sniffed at it curiously, then returned to scanning the street. Even now, in peacetime, he maintained his vigilance. They were walking to the colony administration building, where a special ceremony was being held. The Galactic Council had sent representatives to New Haven to recognize the breaking of smuggling ring. Maya had been asked to attend as the key witness whose testimony had started the investigation. Danny and waited for them outside the building. Both parents looked proud as Maya approached with at her side. "Ready?" Danny asked. Maya nodded. "As ready as I can be." Inside, the main hall was filled with people and aliens of various species. Captain Grant stood near the front, wearing her formal uniform. She smiled when she saw the family enter. The ceremony began with speeches from colony officials and council representatives. They talked about the importance of vigilance against crime. They praised the security forces for their quick response. They acknowledged the courage of witnesses who came forward despite personal danger. Then Maya was called to the stage. She walked up with following close behind. The honey badger stayed at her feet as she stood before the crowd. A council representative, a tall being with blue skin and multiple arms, addressed her directly. Maya, your actions led to the dismantling of a dangerous criminal organization. Weapons that would have caused suffering across multiple worlds have been seized and destroyed. You have our gratitude. The representative presented Maya with a formal commendation. It was a crystalline award that would be recorded in the Galactic database. Maya accepted it with shaking hands. Thank you, she said quietly into the microphone. But I did not do it alone. My parents protected me. Captain Grant and her officers caught the criminals, and she looked down at the honey badger. Saved my life more times than I can count. The crowd murmured at that. Many had heard the stories, but hearing it from Maya herself made it real. The council representative looked down at with interest. This creature fought multiple armed assailants to protect you. Yes, sir, he is the bravest animal I have ever known. Even when he was hurt, he never stopped fighting. He never ran away. Another council member, this one a female unlike in every way that mattered, stepped forward. If I may speak, she asked. The blue-skinned representative nodded. They looked at the assembled crowd. I want to apologize on behalf of my species for the actions of and his criminals. They do not represent the values of the people. We are horrified by what they did. She turned to Maya. And I want to thank this human child and her guardian. You showed mercy to the soldiers who attacked your home. You could have killed them, but you chose capture instead. That speaks to the character of humans and their companions. Maya had not thought about it that way. She had just been trying to survive, but that was right. Her father could have used lethal force, could have killed every attacker. Instead, they had shown restraint. The ceremony continued with more speeches and acknowledgments. Finally, the representatives turned their attention to. We understand this creature is from Earth, the blue-skinned representative said. A species called a honey badger. Stepped forward, as she was the expert. Yes, that is correct. Honey badgers are native to Earth. They are known for their fearlessness, their thick skin that resists many attacks, and their refusal to back down from any threat. Remarkable. We would like to formally recognize this animal's service. While we cannot give a medal to a creature that does not understand such things, we can ensure that his actions are recorded in galactic history. A holographic recorder captured images from every angle. The honey badger tolerated it with patient indifference. He did not care about recognition or fame. He only cared about Maya. After the ceremony, the family walked home together. Neighbors came out to congratulate them. Children asked if they could pet. The honey badger allowed a few gentle touches before growing tired of the attention and moving closer to Maya. He is getting protective again, Danny observed with a smile. Too many strangers. That evening they received a visitor. Captain Grant arrived with news. Has been sentenced, she announced. Life imprisonment in a maximum security facility, no possibility of parole. The other members of his organization received similar sentences. Good, Danny said firmly. They can rot there. There is more, Grant continued. The council investigation uncovered connections to other smuggling operations across the sector. Your daughter's testimony started a chain reaction. At least 5 other criminal organizations are being dismantled as we speak. Shook her head in amazement, all because Maya happened to overhear a conversation. All because she had the courage to report what she heard, Grant corrected. Many people would have stayed silent out of fear. Maya chose to do the right thing. That choice may have saved thousands of lives. Maya felt the weight of those words. She had not realized how big this had become. She had just been a scared girl trying to help. Now people across multiple worlds were safer because of it. Grant knelt down to speak to Maya at eye level. You should be proud of yourself, and you should be grateful too. I have seen trained soldiers who showed less courage than this animal displayed. Hearing his name, padded over and sat beside Maya, she put her arm around him. I know, I tell him thank you every day. Does he understand? Grant asked curiously. I think so, Maya said. Not the words, maybe, but he knows I love him, and I think that is what matters to him. After Grant left, the family settled into their evening routine. The house had been repaired, the damaged walls had been fixed, the scorch marks had been cleaned away. It was home again. Maya did her homework at the kitchen table while lay beneath it, his chin resting on her foot. Danny prepared dinner while worked on her research in the next room. It was peaceful, normal. Later that night, as Maya got ready for bed, she thought about everything that had happened. The fear, the danger, the violence, but also the bravery, the love, the protection. She looked at who was already in his usual spot beside her bed. You know what? I used to think Earth animals were just animals, not as smart as people, not as important. Tilted his head, listening in his own way. But you proved me wrong. You are smart. You are important. You are a hero. Maya slid down to the floor and hugged him. And you are my best friend. The honey badger tolerated the embrace with his usual patience. When Maya finally let go and climbed into bed, settled into his guard position, his eyes remained half open, watching the window and door. In the weeks since the attacks, he had never stopped his vigilance. Even though the threat was gone, his instincts kept him alert. Perhaps he always would be this way. Perhaps protecting Maya had become his life's purpose. Downstairs, Danny and sat together on the couch. I have been thinking, said, about publishing my research on. His behavior has been extraordinary. The scientific community should know about this. What will you say? Danny asked. That Earth's creatures are far more intelligent and capable than we give them credit for. That the bond between humans and animals can extend across the stars. That a small creature from a harsh world can become a guardian, a protector, and a member of the family. Danny nodded. The galaxy is learning about humans, what we can do, how we survive, how we fight when we have to. And now they are learning about the creatures we bring with us, added. Earth did not just produce one remarkable species, it produced thousands. Each adapted to survive in their own way, is just one example. Do you think other Earth animals would act like did, protecting humans they bonded with? Consider the question. Dogs have been doing it for thousands of years. Horses have carried soldiers into battle. Elephants have defended their handlers. Yes, I think the capacity is there in many species, just proved it in the most dramatic way possible. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, listening to the quiet sounds of their home. The hum of the environmental systems, the distant sounds of the colony outside, the faint noises of moving upstairs, checking on Maya before settling down again. We are lucky, Danny said finally. Lucky that chose our daughter, lucky that he was there when we needed him most. It was not luck, replied. It was biology, evolution, millions of years of Earth's harsh environment creating survivors, creatures that do not give up, that fight for their territory and their family with everything they have. Honey badger do not care, Danny said with a slight smile, remembering the old Earth saying. No, agreed. They do not care about odds, they do not care about size, they do not care about danger. They just care about surviving and protecting what is theirs. That is what makes them so formidable. Upstairs, Maya had fallen asleep, her hand dangling over the edge of the bed. Shifted position so her fingers rested in his fur. He could feel her steady breathing, sense her heartbeat. She was safe. She was at peace. And that was all that mattered to him. Not medals, not recognition, not fame, just this small human who had shown him kindness, who had shared her food with him, who had treated him with gentleness when others might have feared him. She was his family now, his to protect, his to guard, and he would do so for the rest of his life. Outside, the colony continued its nightly routine. Ships came and went from the spaceport. Security patrols made their rounds. Traders and travelers moved through the streets. Life went on. But in one home on a quiet street, a honey badger kept watch. Not because he was ordered to, not because he was trained to, but because millions of years of evolution had programmed him to protect his territory and his family with absolute determination. The galaxy had learned a valuable lesson through the attack on Maya. Earth was a dangerous world, not just because of the humans it produced, though they were formidable enough, but because everything from Earth was shaped by harsh conditions and constant challenges. Honey badgers were small. They did not have advanced technology. They could not pilot ships or fire weapons, but they had something just as valuable. They had courage. They had resilience. They had the absolute refusal to accept defeat. And when combined with a human family that needed protecting, that made them the fiercest guardians in the known galaxy. As the moon set and the sun began to rise over New Haven Colony, finally allowed himself to fully relax. The night had passed without incident. No threats had emerged. His family slept peacefully. He closed his eyes and let himself drift into light sleep, secure in the knowledge that if danger did come, he would sense it. He would respond. He would fight with everything he had. Because that was what honey badgers did. They never gave up. They never backed down. They never stopped protecting what they loved. And the galaxy was slowly learning that this made them, and all of Earth's creatures, forces to be respected and admired. Maya had been targeted by dangerous criminals. They had sent assassins and soldiers to eliminate her. They had used advanced weapons and superior numbers. And they had all been defeated by one small animal with a big heart and an unbreakable will. That was the power of Earth. That was the legacy of evolution on a harsh world. That was the strength that humanity brought to the stars, along with their fierce and faithful companions. And the galaxy would never underestimate either one again. A honey badger who had proven that size did not matter, that advanced weapons did not matter, that overwhelming odds did not matter. What mattered was courage, determination, and the absolute refusal to let harm come to those you protect. Those were the gifts Earth gave to its creatures. And the galaxy was learning, one incident at a time, that underestimating anything from Earth was a deadly mistake. But when the sun rose again, everyone would know one truth. Never underestimate an Earth creature that has decided to protect what it loves, because that creature will never stop fighting, never surrender, never give up. Not until every threat is destroyed. Or it dies trying. This contract had just become very interesting. Badgers were famous across Earth for one simple trait. They never backed down from a threat, no matter how big, no matter how dangerous. The battle to protect Maya had only just begun.